Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Local 4 News Over Coffee. I'm Local 4 News Director Mike Mickle. So glad you're joining us this morning, and so happy to have this group of distinguished guests sitting around the table talking about flooded fields. Virgil, I want to go to you now. What sort of things what kind of reports are coming into your office?
Oh, basically, I tell my office assistant I have a flat ear because I'm spending an awful lot of time on the phone. A lot of people asking questions, where do we go from here? What happens if I plant corn? What happens if I switch to soybeans? If I declare prevented planting, what do I use for cover crops? What makes the most economic sense and so forth there. And then with that, kind of getting back to just before break here, there's just a little bit of hand-holding that has to go on there too, because it is a very emotional experience to basically, in some ways, say I've been defeated here, and so it's a little bit of, okay, what makes sense, economically, and this is where we need to go, and so forth. And then on occasion, also, do make some referrals to people to what we call the Iowa Concern Hotline. These are people that are on the job 24/7, and so people can call and just kind of talk about what they're dealing with, whether it be legal issues or financial issues or emotional issues, and get some guidance there.
That's great. We want to get that number from you here in just a little bit, and we'll give that before we wrap up here today. Let's turn it over to the expert in weather.
Yes.
Meteorologist Zane Sadler. Zane, it's been a wicked 6 months. I mean, from brutally cold weather, the snow, the floods.
Where do you want me to start? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
the beginning.
We could go all the way back to last fall. There was an inch and a half of rain in October that I'm pretty sure nobody really needed or wanted. And then you go to January, you had twice as much snow as normal. Or really, the whole winter we had twice as much snow as normal, which isn't really a problem until it all starts to melt and it has to go somewhere. And if you're near any sort of body of water, that causes a lot of issues. And then April was so until we got to the end of April. Does that sound right? End of April, and then especially the second half of May got pretty ugly. Officially, like here in the Quad Cities, had our third wettest May on record. So just shy of 10 inches of rain. Normally you'd see about 4. Okay, and that causes obviously a lot of issues. And like we were talking about early, really the past week was probably the best weather for a lot of people of the spring, unfortunately. That's about it.
We've invited people to come in and ask us their questions, and we have a gentleman right behind you, right? You want to go talk to him?
We do, yeah. With Local 4 News Over Coffee, we really want everybody to get involved, and we do have somebody who came in to join us today. Dennis, that's right?
Right.
Dennis, tell us your story. What you doing here this morning?
Well, I came out to put my 2 cents in, but seems to be the problem we're having is technology. I mentioned earlier they don't have any amphibious tractors to haul stuff around, but once again, when we get lodged into technology, and when we get something that's a lot of water, a lot of this, a lot of that, and we don't have a way to get around it, we get stymied and we just get stuck. So we need to have a technology that can get over that, a way to plow a sunken field, a way to keep the field from being sunk in water and what have you.
I was going to say, we were just talking over there a little bit ago. There's definitely been a lot of tractors stuck in mud at points during this spring. Dennis, thank you so much for coming in today. And we are, of course, going to have much more coming up here in just a little bit on Local 4 News at Coffee. And we will join you then in just a little bit.
All righty, thanks, Zane. We appreciate that. We'll take a quick look at the forecast here before we send it back to them here in just a little while. But yeah, the talk is rain. The talk is snow, rain, and everything in between that we've had here all the way since, as he just mentioned, all the way back to last fall. Now, recently, we have had some rain. Had some rain yesterday. That kept it cool in the upper 60s. Good news is we're going to dry out today, and we have a semi-drier forecast as we look out over the next week and a half. So a little bit of hope here for us. As far as temperature goes, it is going to actually drop down back close to normal, or at least below normal. We've had a lot of pretty warm days so far this June, but as we look out towards the middle and end of June, temperatures right now are supposed to be near that normal range. We're actually going to have the next couple days be well below it, but you factor in A couple days there, temperatures right around 82, which is that average, and then a couple around 80, 81. Things should be very comfortable for us over the next week, week and a half. And like I said, drying out quite a bit. We had that low pressure system move through yesterday. That's making its way off towards the east now, and all of this cold air building in behind it. That's all coming out of the north. Actually going to have some really cool weather in northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. But for our neck of the woods, cool. Not terrible, though. Lots of sunshine here today. High pressure moving in behind that. All that rain now cleared out to our east, so we're going to move into a little bit of a drier slot, and I think that's going to stay that way for today and most of tomorrow as well. Pretty much nothing but sunshine. High pressure dictating the weather in our area now. That high pressure says, hey, no clouds, no rain, so dry and very sunny. Very, very pleasant for us. Enjoy every second of it. That high pressure bringing down the north winds today, but as it moves across our area tonight, well, things will start to calm down for us. Won't be too gusty, and winds will actually start to come up out of the south by tomorrow as that high pressure makes its way off towards the east. As it does, that does bring up more moisture. That is going to bring up here the chance for some more showers as we get into the weekend. We might have a few showers Friday evening, but overall, I think the majority of that rain is going to hold off for Saturday and Sunday. And at this point, not expecting a ton of rain by any means. There might be a couple areas here where we could see about half an inch or so, but at this point, the rain should stay mostly light and very scattered, which is really good news for us here. There's going to be a spot somewhere where we'll see a concentration of some of the higher totals, but we'll focus on that as we get a little bit closer to it. Here today, 72, that high temperature, just a little bit breezy outside, but overall, as we look out over the next 7 days, things look very comfortable. We're going to be looking at temperatures lower 70s today, upper 70s and lower 80s through the weekend and all the way through next week with mostly light rain. Coming up next, more conversation on the impact the historic flooding has had on the planting season for farmers in our area. That's on Local 4 News over coffee. Time now 6:23. You're watching Local 4 News this morning.